There was a knock at the door. It was 1981, and the boys of the United States indoor national team, Mike Dodd and Pat Powers, St. John Smith, Tim Hovland, Karch Cry, and Steve Timmons, knew who it was. Doug Beal, their head coach, the man with whom they had clashed so many times that, when asked about this particular episode in Tokyo, Japan, Beal laughed and said, "Do I remember specifically the one you're referring to? It could have been any number of them." The way Dodd remembers it, Beal had heard a party going on in Powers' room. How could he not have heard? They weren't exactly being quiet, were they? Karch, a star at UCLA, and Timmons, a phenomenal hitter out of USC, had cranked up U2, the B-52s, In Excess, and Simple Minds, and the Californians were having a grand old time. Earlier in the day, when they had checked into their hotel in Tokyo for an exhibition overseas against the Japanese national team, they saw the most God-blessed vending machine they had ever seen, one that dispensed many kegs of beer. They did what any group of young 20-somethings at the peak of their professions would do. They bought every last ounce they could afford. Consequences, and they knew the consequences, be damned. They took the beer to Powers' room, and it was in Powers' room that the future of the national team was, quite literally, being thrown out the window, making a wondrous mess of things, cranking up the music and tipping back the drinks. It was past midnight when Beal heard the commotion and knocked on the door. "When I think back to it now," Dodd said, "Doug Beal has the future of the men's national team, the hopes and dreams of a medal in this room. If he walks in, he has to do something." By doing something, what Dodd means is this: Beal would have to kick every single one of them off the team. 5 of the most gifted volleyball players the world had ever seen, poof, gone. Hovland heard the knock and ordered his teammates to throw the kegs out the window. "Get rid of the evidence," he hissed. The window was lifted, and out the evidence went, one keg being tossed after another. But Beal never entered. He simply rapped on the door once more. "Yeah?" the boys responded, tense with anticipation of what Beal might do next. He was a disciplinarian, Beal, not the kind of guy who became friends with his players. He had a job to do, and that job was to build a sustainable program that could win volleyball matches. When guys were out of line, he let them know. And here they were, a group of his players as far out of line as they could possibly be. The players held their breath. "Well," Beal said, "keep it down." And then he walked away. Knuckleheads, all of them. They'll readily admit it to this day. It was far from the first time they had pushed Beal's patience. It wasn't even the first time they had done so on that trip alone. On the morning of their departure to Japan, many of the players, not all, for some, take Karch, knew the devastating consequences that came with drinking and traveling on the same day. Arrived at the airport hungover. Ray-Ban sunglasses covering bloodshot eyes, toothpicks hanging from their mouths. And the ones who had imbibed on the flight bore the image of everything Beal loathed, one of pompous, arrogant, laissez-faire Californians. Then they pushed it even further. Their first mission, upon boarding the plane, was to befriend the flight attendants, good-looking gals who invited them to the workers' quarters to have a few cocktails. A dozen or so hours later, many were hungover, or still a bit buzzed, maybe a bit of both. Their sunglasses were back on, toothpicks dangling from their lips, and you could see the steam coming off Beal's skin, Dodd said. Maybe they'd have played it cool from there then. Calmed down, caught a nap, slept it off. But upon landing, they took a walk around, stretched their legs, and discovered those damn vending machines with kegs of beer being dispensed. How were you supposed to turn down a vending machine with kegs in it? So they did the obvious thing. They bought as much as they could, brought it into Powers' room, turned up the music, and partied the night away.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.